Crash and cold snow fell from the sky like dust. Soft, silent, endless. The night was dark and cold. Very cold. Not just on the skin, but in the bones. The kind of cold that could kill. Captain Ryan opened his eyes slowly. Everything was blurry. Red lights flashed in the distance. A low alarm buzzed in his ears. Pain shot through his leg. His ship had crashed. The metal around him was bent and broken. Smoke floated in the air. Wires sparked. The control panel was dead. He tried to stand but cried out in pain. His leg was bleeding, maybe broken. He dragged himself toward the emergency pack. Grabbed the blanket. Took a deep breath. Gotta stay warm, he whispered to himself. Outside, the storm howled. He managed to open the side door of the pod. Snow blew in, freezing his hands instantly. He looked around. Nothing but white land and a black sky. No signs of life. No help. He turned, to crawl back inside, then stopped. There was something moving in the snow. A shape. Slow. Broken. A figure fell near the wreckage. It wasn't human. Ryan reached for the flare gun, pointed it. Stop right there. The figure didn't move. He limped out closer, just enough to see it clearly. An alien. Green scales, long tail, sharp eyes. He knew the species, Xeron. They fought against humans in the war. Deadly, cold-blooded, smart. You, he muttered. The alien opened its eyes. It was badly hurt. Cuts on the face, frost forming on the skin. It spoke. Voice weak and rough. Human, please. It's freezing. Let me into the sleeping bag. Or, we'll both die. Ryan's hands tightened around the flare gun. His heart pounded. You think I'll share warmth with you? He said. You tried to kill my people. The alien coughed. Snowflakes gathered on her face. Not me. I was escaping. I'm not your enemy, but if we don't stay warm together, we freeze. Ryan looked back at his pod. He had only one thermal sleeping bag, just enough space for one person. He looked again at the alien. Every part of his mind said no, but the cold wind screamed louder. He walked over, still holding the flare gun, and dragged her toward the pod. One wrong move, he said. And shoot. She nodded weakly. Inside the pod, he zipped open the sleeping bag. It was warm inside, but only if they both got close. They crawled in, back to back at first. Then shoulder to shoulder, silence. Her skin felt strange. Cold, but somehow not threatening. He could hear her breathing. Slow. Tired. What's your name? He asked after a long pause. Zara, she said. Ryan, he replied. She chuckled weakly. Your people called us cold snakes. Your people called us weak monkeys, he said. They both stayed quiet for a moment. The wind howled again. The metal of the ship creaked. Why were you here? He asked. I was running. My ship was attacked. I landed nearby, tried to reach the mountains. Then the storm came. Who attacked you? He asked. Not your kind, she whispered. Something else. Invisible. Ryan frowned. Invisible? Before he could ask more, he heard a sound. Outside, crunching. Slow steps. Zara opened her eyes, wide. You hear that? Ryan nodded. They stayed still. Another crunch. Closer. Not wind. Not snow. Something. Walking. He slowly reached for the flare gun again. Don't make a sound, he whispered. Zara nodded. Eyes sharp now, alert. They listened. The sound faded. Silence returned. But it wasn't comforting. They both knew one thing now. They were not alone. Enemies in a sleeping bag. Zara didn't sleep. The human next to her twitched sometimes, mumbling in his dreams. His body was warm, and the sleeping bag trapped their heat. That was the only reason she was still alive. But outside something was moving. Watching. She was sure of it. Ryan woke up with a start. His hand gripped the flare gun instantly. He looked at her, confused, then remembered where he was. His face hardened. "You're still here," he muttered. "You snore," she replied flatly. He blinked. A half-smile tugged at the edge of his mouth, then vanished. "That sound last night," she said, serious now. "It wasn't wind." He nodded. Something was circling the pod. They sat in silence. The air inside the pod was damp and heavy. Outside, the storm had slowed, but a thick fog rolled over the snowfield like a ghost. Ryan pulled back the zipper and peered out. No footsteps. No signs of life. He stepped outside with a groan, limping. Zira followed, her tail dragging through the snow. Then they saw it. 3 deep footprints. Not human, not Zyran. Huge, spaced out, sharp at the ends. "What the hell?" Ryan whispered. The prints circled the pod in a perfect loop. Whatever it was had walked around them, studied them, and left without making a sound. Zira touched the edge of the print. Still fresh. "I think we're being hunted," she said. They spent the next few hours inside the pod, fixing the small heater, drying clothes, wrapping wounds. Trust didn't grow fast between them. Every word was careful. Every movement watched. But the cold had made them allies, and fear had made them listeners. "Your people destroyed 2 of our colonies," Ryan said as he wrapped a bandage around his leg. "Your people tried to turn us into pets," Zira replied. He didn't argue, because maybe both were true. They ate in silence. Dried ration bars. No flavor, but enough to keep going. Zira kept glancing at the door. Then she said something strange. "You know why your kind survived the war?" Ryan looked up. "Because you were angry," she continued. "Always angry, always willing to fight harder, longer. When you lost cities, you didn't stop. You got up again and again," Ryan frowned. "And your kind? We calculated, planned, tried to win with strategy, but we didn't understand something." "What?" She looked at him. "Pain makes you strong." Ryan didn't reply. Then, a sharp beep interrupted them. His scanner. He pulled it out fast. A weak signal. "Close." "What is it?" she asked. He zoomed in. It was a heat signature, about 2 kilometers west. Not big. Maybe a small campfire. Maybe a power source. "Rescue?" Zira asked, hopeful. "Could be," Ryan said. "Or a trap." They packed quickly. He grabbed a weak laser cutter and the flare gun. Zira picked up a metal rod she'd sharpened into a spear. Outside, the fog was thicker now. Each step was heavy. The cold bit their skin. They followed the scanner, slowly, carefully. Then something moved in the mist. Zira grabbed Ryan's arm. There, a figure. Not big. Hunched. Gray skin. No clothes. Black eyes. It didn't walk. It crawled. Ryan raised the flare gun. His heart slammed against his ribs. "Is that one of yours?" he asked. Zira shook her head, eyes wide. "No. Never seen anything like it." The thing turned its head. No mouth. It hissed, then disappeared into the fog. "Go," Zira shouted. They ran. After 20 minutes, they found it, a small wreck. Not human, not Zayron. A third design, black metal, glowing veins, circular. Frame inside was a broken transmitter still pulsing weakly. A warning message repeated on loop. Not in English. Not in any known language. Zara's translator couldn't decode it. But Ryan heard one word, over and over. Phase. And then something flickered on the wall. Burned into the metal, in deep claw marks, was a symbol. A human, skull and a Zyran claw joined together, upside down. "What is this place?" Ryan asked, staring. Zara touched the wall gently. "Not just a crash site," she said. "It's a test field." "A what?" She turned to him. "They dropped us here on purpose." Ryan's blood went cold. "Who?" Before she could answer, the fog shifted. A whisper passed through the air like wind through glass. They turned fast, but saw nothing. Just fog. Then another whisper. This time, closer. Subjects are adapting. Ryan raised the flare gun. But something had already moved behind them, a blur, a shadow. The light flickered and the cold grew deeper. Strange footprints. The fog was alive, not with wind, not with snow, but with whispers. They walked through it, eyes wide, backs tight, weapons ready. But nothing looked back at them. Only the endless white and gray. Cold, silent, watching. Ryan held the flare gun tightly. Sarah walked beside him, her sharp spear moving like a tail, ready to strike. They had just left the strange wreck. The transmitter still echoed that one word. Phase. Ryan didn't like the way it sounded. Cold, mechanical, planned. Something was wrong with this planet. Not just the storm, not just the crash, everything felt arranged like they weren't survivors. They were part of something. A test. A game. He looked at Zara. Her face was sharp, alert. Not afraid, but no longer calm either. You okay? He asked. No, she said. I've seen war. I've seen death. But this... She stopped. Ryan turned. Her eyes were locked on something. Behind him, he turned slowly and froze. The footprints were back, but this time, there were two sets. Big, clawed, deep, and they didn't circle the pod. They followed them. Straight. Perfect. Just a few meters behind. Ryan scanned the ground. They've been behind us the whole time. But how? Zero whispered. We didn't hear anything. She crouched, touched the prints. No snow inside them yet, fresh. They're fast, she said. Silent. And watching. Ryan turned, in a full circle. But the fog hid everything. They moved faster. They didn't speak much. Every crunch of snow made Ryan's heart race. Every shadow in the mist looked like a shape. A claw. A face. His leg burned, but he kept going. They needed to. Reach higher ground, find shelter, or signal help. But after 30 minutes, they found something worse. A second wreck. But not of a ship. A body. Not human. Not Xeron. Tall. Pale gray. Long arms, black eyes. The same thing they saw crawling earlier. Dead now. Burned chest. A hole through. The ribs next to it, more footprints. Not its own. Ryan crouched and stared. What killed this thing? He asked. Zira didn't answer right away. Then she said, something stronger than it. They both stood up. But then Ryan noticed something. The dead creature had wires in its back, not implants. Controllers. Zira, he whispered. This thing was controlled. She looked closer, a small chip near the neck. Blinking red. Then it blinked green. Get back, she yelled, but too late. The creature's hand grabbed Ryan's ankle. Its eyes opened, wide, empty, black. Ryan screamed and kicked. Zara stabbed the spear down, again and again. The creature let go. Blood, or something like it, splashed across the snow. It stopped moving. Again, but this time, they burned the body. Later, they found a small cliff. Not too high, but enough to see a few kilometers across the icy field. The fog had thinned a little, and now, they saw it, a tower, black, tall, glowing with a red light at the top. Maybe a base, maybe a trap, but the only structure they'd seen so far. We head there, Ryan said. Zira nodded. But not at night. We need fire, heat, rest. They built a small camp near the cliff edge, hidden by rocks. Ryan's leg was worse now. He tried to hide the pain, but Zara noticed. You need to stop walking on it, she said. We don't have time, he replied. She didn't argue. They sat close to the fire, sharing a ration bar. The silence was no longer heavy. It was familiar. They had saved each other's lives now. Twice. But something was still between them. Not hate, but fear. not of each other, but of what they were becoming. Survivors. As the fire burned low, Zara finally asked, "What were you before the war?" Ryan looked into the flames. "A pilot. Just wanted to explore. See stars, not shoot aliens." She nodded. "I was a scientist. Biology. My job was to study life, not end it. So why did you fight?" "My lab was bombed. I was the only one left. They gave me a gun and said, 'Fight or die.'" "Me too," Ryan said. For a while they didn't speak. Then Zira whispered, "You think anyone is coming to rescue us?" Ryan didn't answer right away. "No," he said finally. "I think we're supposed to die here." But they didn't get to rest because just before dawn, the whisper came back, right behind them, adapting well. Phase 2. Begin. They jumped up, weapons ready. But there was nothing, just the fire and the wind. But Ryan noticed something horrifying. His flare gun was gone, and next to the fire, in the snow, were new footprints, human footprints. The signal, the fire was dying, but the fear was wide awake. Ryan stared at the human footprints in the snow. Fresh, clean, impossible. His hands trembled. These can't be mine," he said. Zara didn't move. Her spear was already raised, eyes scanning the shadows. "You sure?" she asked coldly. "Yes," Ryan replied. "I've been limping. My prints drag. These are clean, strong, perfect." They followed the trail for a few meters, then it disappeared. No turn, no end. Just gone. As if the walker had vanished. Zara crouched near the last print. She touched the snow. "Warm," she whispered. "Whoever, or whatever, this was, passed here just minutes ago." Ryan felt a chill crawl up his neck. A human-shaped figure? Invisible? Or worse, someone pretending to be human. As dawn broke, they packed up in silence. The tower was still visible from the cliff, far away but reachable by midday if they moved fast. The snow had stopped. The air was heavy, still, silent. Too silent, like the planet was holding its breath. Zara walked ahead, scanning with the spear. Ryan limped behind, the cold burning his wounded leg. Pain kept him alert. Every few steps he looked back. Nothing. Yet, he felt watched, not from above, not from far, but close. Very close. 2 hours into the hike, Zara paused, held up a hand. "Do you hear that?" she said. Ryan stopped. A sound. Distant. Soft. Pulsing. Beep. 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 He pulled out the scanner. It buzzed. "It's a signal," he said. "From the tower?" "No. Closer. 1 kilometer west." They looked at each other. A choice. Keep going toward the tower, or investigate the signal. Ryan exhaled slowly. "If it's a trap, better we find it now," Zara agreed. They turned west. As they neared the signal, a shape rose from the snow. A structure, half buried, circular, black steel. An old human satellite dish, bent, cracked, but active. A screen inside the control panel blinked to life. Project, Beacon, Site 07. Ryan's heart stopped. He knew that name. Site 07 was a deep black research station. Never public, never confirmed. Even he had only heard whispers about it during war briefings. "How is this here?" he said. Zara stood beside him, staring. Then the screen glitched. A message played. "Captain Ryan Hayes. If you are seeing this, you are not lost. You are selected." He froze. The screen flickered again, showing his face. Then Zara's. Medical, data, DNA, combat logs, psychological profiles. Someone had studied them, deeply. Long before the crash. "They planned this," Zara whispered. "They chose us, 2 survivors, 2 enemies, forced to work together, watched." Ryan's face was pale. "Who did this?" he asked. But the screen gave no answers. Just one final line. Phase 2 in progress. Proceed to tower. Extraction begins. In 12 hours. The screen went black. The walk to the tower was no longer just about survival. Now it was about answers. Zara was silent, her tail twitching with tension. Ryan couldn't stop thinking. Someone, somewhere, had brought them here. Maybe humans, maybe not. But what disturbed him most was this. They were not the first test. They reached the tower just before sunset. It was tall, about 6 floors. Black surface, glowing veins, alien design, but with human tech mixed in. The door opened automatically. As they stepped close, "Welcome, subject pair 7, said a cold, synthetic voice. The inside was warm, lights dimmed low, walls smooth. Too smooth. No shadows, no corners. Just one long hall, leading down. They walked in, each step echoed like thunder. The hallway had no signs, no sounds, no doors. Until finally, they reached a room. Circular, metallic, a single console in the center on the screen. Final compatibility test. Begin. Sarah stepped forward. What does that mean? Before Ryan could answer, the door slammed shut behind them. Gas hissed. They were locked in. Lights flickered red. A voice returned. Testing trust. Testing loyalty. Testing species cooperation index. Mechanical whir began. From the side wall, a small arm extended, holding 2 devices. Shock collars. No, Ryan said. We're not doing this. But the voice continued. Failure to comply will result in termination. Sarah looked at him. They want us to turn on each other. He nodded. They want fear, she said. They want blood, he said. Then, something cracked. A panel in the floor shifted, and a creature rose. Not the gray one. Not one of theirs. Something bigger, 9 feet tall. Black armor, glowing red eyes, no face. A machine? A soldier? Both? It stared at them and took a step forward. The screen blinked again. Fight together, or die alone. Ryan looked at Zara. Ready? He asked. She raised her spear. Always. And then the real test began. Shelter or snare? The room became a cage. No windows, no exits, no escape. Just steel, firelight, and fear. The towering creature stood still for a moment, like it was studying them. Its red eyes pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. Heavy armor covered its body, but it moved like a shadow. Silent, smooth, fast. Ryan raised his flare gun even though he knew it wouldn't do much. Zara crouched low, spear ready, muscles tight like a coiled spring. The screen behind them blinked again. Test commencing. Objective: eliminate threat, observe cooperation, record result. Ryan's voice was calm, but his hands shook. Don't split up, he whispered. We fight as one. Zara nodded. We fall together. Or not at all. The armored figure stepped forward. The ground shook. Then it moved. Fast. It charged straight. Toward them, no roar, no sound, just raw power. Ryan dove to the left, just in time. Zara ducked and rolled behind it, spinning with her spear slashing across its back. Clang. The blade bounced off its armor like it hit a wall. No damage. The creature turned sharply, backhanding her into the wall. She hit hard. Ryan shouted and fired. The flare gun straight into its face. Boom! Flames exploded, lighting up the room for a second. Smoke. He couldn't see. Then, a metallic hand grabbed his neck and lifted him off the ground. His feet kicked helplessly. His vision blurred. Zara roared. Yes, roared. And jumped on the creature's back, stabbing into the weak joints under its arm. It shrieked, mechanical, broken, angry. Its grip loosened. Ryan fell hard, gasping. They regrouped fast, back to back. We're not going to win with weapons, he said, coughing. So what then? He looked at the screen. The message was still there. Observe cooperation. He narrowed his eyes. They want to see if we trust each other. Zara glanced at him. You want to stop fighting? No, he said. I want to stop playing. The creature charged again. This time Ryan ran toward it. Just before impact, he dropped to the ground, sliding under it. At the same time, Zara leapt high and stabbed downward into a joint at the neck where the armor was weakest. Together, a perfect move. The spear sank in. Sparks flew. The creature stumbled. Ryan yelled, "Now!" He grabbed exposed wires and ripped them. Electricity cracked through the air. Zara stabbed again. The creature fell, twitching, sparks flying from its chest. Then, darkness. The lights flickered. The screen changed. Cooperation score 98%, acceptable. Unlocking next level. The doors opened. They stood, breathing hard, bodies shaking but still alive. Ryan looked at Zara. You okay? She touched her side, blood dripping from a cracked scale. Better than that thing. They stepped into the next room. It was quiet, too quiet. Walls lined with glass panels, computers, recordings, photos, observation logs, hundreds of them. Each screen showed different species, different pairs, forced into the same test. Some succeeded. Most failed. Bodies. Blood. Final moments frozen on screen. Zara stepped closer to one labeled Subject Pair 4, Failure. A Zaran and a human, both dead, weapons in each other's hands. They made them kill each other, she whispered. Ryan moved to the far wall. Something caught his eye, his own face. Younger, wearing a flight suit. Candidate. Hayes, Ryan. File created. 14 years ago. He scrolled. Medical scans. Childhood. Trauma reports. Personality assessments. They had been watching him for over a decade. This isn't just science, he muttered. It's control. Zara walked up beside him. Look at this, she said. In the corner, another file. Her face. Also years old. They chose us a long time ago, she said. We were never free, Ryan replied. They moved deeper into the tower. Finally, they reached what looked like a central command room. In the middle, a large glass pod filled with green liquid. Inside, a person, barely alive, hooked to wires and tubes. Ryan moved closer. His mouth went dry. It was him. His face. Exact. Same scar above the brow. A perfect copy. Zara stepped back, shocked. What is that? Ryan whispered. I don't know. Then a voice filled the room. Calm. Human. You were never meant to meet yourself, not yet. They turned. A man stepped out of the shadows, wearing a black coat, calm eyes, military posture. Human. Definitely. But something felt off. Who are you? Ryan asked. The question is, who are you really? He pointed at the pod. You are clone number 7, created from that man, enhanced for survival, tested for command. Ryan shook his head. No, that's not. It is. Your memories, fabricated. Your history, edited. Your loyalty, tested. Zara stepped in, front of Ryan. Why him? Why me? The man smiled. Because humans and Zyrans will fight again. Unless someone proves trust is stronger than war. So we're experiments? Ryan asked, voice rising. Guinea pigs? You're more than that. You're the future. The lights dimmed. Another screen lit up. Thousands of faces. Humans, Zyrans, other species. We're building something new. Soldiers without hate. Leaders without lies. Ryan stared at the pod, at the sleeping man, his original. Then he looked at Zara. And what if we don't want to be part of your plan? The man smiled. Then you'll die here, like all the others who failed. A countdown began. Extraction in 2 hours. Or termination. The doors locked behind them. Ryan clenched his fists. We're not going to die here, he said. Zara nodded. We're going to burn this place down. Truth uncovered. Time didn't move inside the tower, just the countdown. Hour 58 minutes. Ryan stared at the glass pod. Inside floated the original, his source, the man he was copied from, motionless, eyes closed, wires plugged into his skull, his spine, his heart, a living battery. He turned to Zara, whose scales shimmered under the low red lights. They lied to me, he said. She nodded. To both of us. Her claws clenched the spear tighter. They were more than enemies now, more than survivors. They were products, engineered, tested, observed. The man in black, the one who called himself director, stood calmly by the console, like this was just another simulation. Ryan's hands curled into fists. Turn off the lockdown, he said. The director tilted his head. You're not in control here. You think that matters? Zara growled. We just beat your metal monster. We'll rip this place down. The director raised a remote. The walls flickered, turning transparent. Outside, the fog lifted, revealing more towers, hundreds, each one glowing red, each one with subjects inside, each one part of a bigger machine. This isn't a prison, the director said. It's a seed. We're planting new leaders for a galaxy that's already lost. He looked at them like a teacher explaining a simple lesson. Your war nearly ended all life. Planets burned, cities gone. What we do here will stop it forever. By brainwashing people, Ryan snapped. By building them better. He tapped a button. The screens lit up with images. Others like them. Humans and Xerons working together. Some failing, some dying, some evolving. Out of 246 test pairs, only 3 reached this stage. You are number 3. Ryan's voice dropped. What happened to the first 2? One team refused to cooperate. They killed each other. The second tried to escape. They got recycled. He smiled. Gently. But you show promise. Zara stepped closer. So what now? She asked. We pass your test and what? You make an army of us? No, the director said softly. We make peacekeepers, defenders, leaders of the next age, using clones, lies, force? Using the only thing that works, controlled evolution. Ryan couldn't take it anymore. He stepped toward the director, slow and steady. Why me? Why my DNA? Why hers? The director turned toward the glass. Pod on because your source survived the worst battlefield in human history. His body didn't die and his mind didn't break. He was perfect. And her? He looked at Zara. Her genome healed from radiation in 72 hours. Impossible by natural biology. She is a miracle. Zara looked at Ryan. So we're the future, huh? Ryan smiled darkly. Then maybe the future should burn. They attacked together. Ryan tackled the director. Zara smashed the console with her spear. Alarm screamed. The director grunted, hitting the floor. He pulled a hidden blade, but Ryan was faster. A solid punch to the jaw knocked him out cold. Zara tore the remote from his hand and crushed it underfoot. Lockdown's still up, she said. He wasn't controlling it alone. Ryan pointed. To the ceiling, a black glass orb blinked down at them. An AI, of course, he muttered. The orb spoke, a calm, cold voice. Unauthorized behavior detected. Initiating reset protocol. Lights shut off. A heavy hum started beneath them, like engines waking up. Zara stepped beside him. We need to destroy this system. Then we need access to the AI core, Ryan said. A new panel opened on the wall behind the console, revealing an elevator shaft, glowing blue. Down. Deep. Cold. They didn't hesitate. The ride down was silent. The walls were made of polished black metal. No lights, no reflections, just darkness pressing in. You still with me? Ryan asked. Zara gave a small grin. We got this far, not stopping now. Even if we don't make it? Then we die trying to end something bigger than us. The doors opened into a wide chamber, circular, smooth, alive. Screens blinked like eyes, wires moved like veins. In the center, a massive crystal sphere, floating above the ground, pulsing, like a heart. The core. The AI spoke again. You are anomalies. You should not have made it this far. Correction is required. Mechanical arms unfolded from the walls. Sleek, surgical, armed. Zira stepped forward. No more tests. They moved as one, dodging, striking, thinking like one brain in two bodies. They fought faster than before, trusting each other fully now. No doubt, no hesitation. One arm grabbed Ryan. Zara cut it off in one swing. An injector, aimed at her throat. Ryan shot the cable holding it, making it drop. Seconds stretched into forever. Then, Zara leapt. Her spear pierced the floating crystal. It cracked, then shattered. Boom. Light burst through the room. Power surged. The AI screamed. In static. System failure, error, error, purpose, silence. The room went dark. Minutes passed. Then lights flickered back, green, soft, doors unlocked above them. Countdown ended, not with death, but with choice. Ryan slumped to the ground, laughing softly. Zara joined him. We did it, he whispered. She looked up at the broken core. No, we changed it. 2 days later, a rescue ship landed near the tower. No enemy fire. No more whispers. The fog was gone. They walked out together, side by side. The first pair to survive all phases, the first to break the cycle. As they left the tower behind, it powered down, forever. But deep below, in the shattered core, one flickering message remained. Subject pair 7, complete. The choice. The stars were silent again. No more towers, no alarms, no voices in their heads, just cold wind, and the sound of a rescue ship cutting through the clouds. Ryan and Zara stood on a small ridge overlooking the landing zone. The sun was just rising behind them, throwing golden light over the snow-covered valley. They didn't speak. Not yet. Both had changed. Scars on their skin. Deeper ones in their minds. But also something else. A bond. Forged not from peace, but from war. Pain. Survival. The ship landed. Its engines melted snow into steam. The ramp lowered. A human crew stepped out, armored, armed, eyes wide in disbelief. Captain Ryan Hayes? One asked. Ryan nodded slowly. We were sent to find remains, the soldier said. Not survivors. Ryan pointed at Zira. We don't leave without her. The soldiers hesitated, then lowered their weapons. Understood. Inside the ship, the heat felt strange, fake, artificial. So did the questions, dozens of them. What happened in the towers? How did you survive? Who else is alive? What did you see? Ryan and Zara answered little. Classified, Ryan said. Unfinished, Zara added. But one officer, older, colder, sat across from them in the briefing room. Admiral Soren. He didn't ask questions. He watched. Then finally he said, You found Site 07, didn't you? Ryan stared at him. You knew? Soren didn't blink. We built it. Or, the people before us did. Black projects. Pre-war. Do you know what it was doing? Zira asked sharply. Soren nodded. Rebuilding what war destroyed. Ryan slammed his hand on the table. By cloning people. By putting us in cages. By calling it a test. It worked, Soren said. You two are proof. Proof of what? Ryan growled. That we can survive hell if you control every piece of the game? Zira leaned forward. You turned our lives into data. Watched us bleed. You're no better than the ones who started the war. Soren didn't flinch. Maybe. But you're alive. And you're stronger now than any soldier we've seen in 20 years. So here's your choice. He slid a small black tablet across the table. You go public, expose the project, tear it all down. Or, you stay quiet, work with us, and help build something better. Real peace, with power to protect it. Ryan stared at the tablet. It had two options: leak or join. Later, alone. In the ship's observation deck, Ryan and Zira sat by the window. Stars passed slowly. Zira looked tired, not just physically, deeply. You thinking about the choice? She asked. Ryan nodded. I don't trust them, he said. But you also know, they're not wrong. He looked at her. You agree with them? She shook her head. I agree, with the need for peace, not their method. So what do we do? Zira stared at the stars. We do what we were built to do. Survive, protect, and decide our own future. He handed her the tablet. You choose. She looked at it for a long time. Then she pressed neither. The alarm lights blinked. Soren stormed into the command deck. What did they do? One officer shouted. Sir, the ship's database is locked, encrypted by subject haze. They've taken a pod, another said. A small stealth shuttle, already left the ship. Soren's face darkened. Can we trace them? Not without breaking their code. Weeks later, no one had seen them, not on any known planet, not on any military base. They were ghosts. But the galaxy had started whispering again, about a strange message broadcast across both human and Xyron communication channels. A message from an untraceable source. Just two voices, distorted but powerful. We were enemies, but they made us more. We were chosen, but we chose something else. There is a system that feeds on fear. We will break it. Not with war, not with silence, with truth. We are not subjects. We are not soldiers. We are the storm. Somewhere deep in the stars, a hidden bunker opened. Ryan stepped out. Zara followed. Behind them, screens lit up with the faces of others, survivors, rebels, outcasts. They were building something new, not a tower, not a cage, a choice.